Running events are the most fundamental events at Little Athletics. Now, depending on the little athlete's age, the events can range from short sprints through to middle distance races. While running is simple, there are a few important steps to follow at Little Athletics to make sure that all events are conducted as safely as possible. Firstly, always look before crossing a running track. There may be more than one race taking place at a time, for example on a separate sprints track, so always check what's happening on each track before crossing. Secondly, in some age groups and events, little athletes may be allowed to wear spiked shoes. To avoid accidents from spiking themselves or others, spikes should only be put on just prior to the start of a race and removed immediately afterwards. Spikes are not allowed in races that aren't run completely in lanes. How to start a race well is an important skill to learn. The best method for little athletes is the standing start because it's simple to learn and can be used in all events. The more complicated crouch start in sprints should only be attempted as the little athlete gets older and stronger. In events that are run entirely in their lanes, the starter gives 3 commands. On your marks, set, and then the bang of the gun, which then starts the race. When the starter calls on your marks, the little athlete should place 1 foot behind the starting line, but not on it. It will usually be the leg opposite to what they would kick a ball with. The other foot is placed back about 1 foot space and is pointed directly down the track. The heel is lifted off the ground. When the starter calls set, the little athlete bends forward at the hips and knees. At this point, the opposite arm and leg should be forward and the little athlete should be directing their vision at the ground, about 1 metre in front of their feet. When all the little athletes are still, the starter can commence the race by firing the starter's gun. At this stage, the little athlete should drive their arms and legs and step through with their back foot first. The procedure for starting in middle distance races is similar, except that there is no set command. When the starter calls on your marks, the little athlete should take the stance they would usually take on set in a sprinting race. Running is a natural activity, but how fast a little athlete can run can be improved by focusing on some basic techniques. In sprinting races, little athletes must stay in their lanes. On straight parts of the track, this means running in as straight a line as possible. On curves, this means running on the inside edge of their lane, but not too close to the line because you aren't allowed to step on or over the line. The little athlete's eye should always be looking forward ahead of them and not looking behind because it slows them down. Little athletes will usually run faster if they try to stay relaxed and feel tall while they are running. The main difference between middle distance races and sprinting races is that in middle distance races, little athletes don't have a lane that they need to stay in. When there is the need to pass another competitor, the little athlete should go around them on their right-hand side. It is also important in longer races for the little athlete to pace themselves and not run too fast at the beginning. The race finishes when the torso of the little athlete crosses the line. The torso is the part of the body from above the waist to below the neck, but does not include the arms or hands. Important rules to remember about the start are: the starter should not start the race until the timekeepers are ready. The starter should wait until all the athletes are still before calling set or firing the gun. If an athlete false starts, the starter fires the gun a second time. If the same athlete false starts a second time, they are disqualified, but this rule varies in some states. Timekeepers have the job of timing each little athlete in the race. It is important to start timing the race as soon as you see either the flash or the smoke from the starter's gun. Because sound travels much slower than light, waiting to hear the sound will make the time inaccurate. Time from stopwatches are recorded to the nearest tenth of a second, always rounding up any non-zero number in the hundredths of a second to the next tenth.